Hey everybody, it's JJ Conway. If you can hear me, please give me some likes or some loves. I want to make sure you can hear me. This is my second time trying to broadcast simultaneously to Facebook, YouTube, and Clubhouse. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything right, okay? Clubhouse is blinking when I speak, so I'm guessing it can hear me just fine. Um, but I want to make sure the people on Facebook and YouTube can hear me. We have a fantastic topic to talk about. While I'm waiting for somebody to let me know that you can hear me just fine, let me tell you why this topic is so essential in today's world. You know, a lot of us, we feel like we cannot get ahead, that we have socioeconomical disadvantages. Maybe we were born into the wrong family. Maybe we were born the wrong color, anything like that, right? Then we might feel like we're not smart enough. Hey, thanks so much for letting me know you could hear me. Um, Maybe we feel like we're not smart enough. Maybe we feel like we're not accomplished enough. Maybe we feel like we don't have enough good role models. Maybe we feel like the people we've seen who are successful, they have fallen by the wayside. They have thrown away their faith. They've made shipwreck their faith, right? So these are all reasons why we may feel like we can't get ahead. And three actually that are really poignant to me is the socioeconomic dynamic of being a woman of color in mostly male dominated fields. Like I didn't get enough punishment being a physicist in the Air Force, right? Like I had to go into finance after I got out of the Air Force, right? You know, then all these 20 years I've been in ministry, like none of these things are like friendly to women careers, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we may feel like we have a bit of a disadvantage and we have to fight harder and it's not fair. But then we also, this is what I'm finding with a lot of people coming up, is that a lot of times we have factors that are outside of our control. So some health, and I'm specifically talking about health, injury or disease, disability, things like that. And I understand that a lot of our health, we determine a lot of our health by how we move our bodies, the thoughts we allow in our minds, and the foods that we take in. I already said that. And how we move our bodies, the thoughts that we allow in our minds, how we, what we take in food wise, and the people that we surround ourselves like that. Those four things there are huge when it comes to our health. But sometimes things happen. And I remember laying in that emergency room and the doctor was asking me these questions, and it took so long for the answers to come out that by time I kind of formed the thought sentence, the doctor had moved on to ask another question. And then I couldn't even get the words out. And if you never had a brain injury or a stroke or anything like that, then you may not know what I'm talking about. But let me tell you, laying in that emergency room and my friends later telling me, yeah, you were getting so mad because you couldn't communicate. It gave me a whole new appreciation for the people who may be a little more mature than me that I used to be so frustrated with, because I'm a get it done, snappy kind of person. I don't need you to take 5 seconds to think your thoughts and give me your answers. Well, let me tell you what I found out in that emergency room. Sometimes that's the best you can do. All right. And so I remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, is my life over? Am I ever going to get my brain back? Am I ever going to be useful again? And I just remember thinking that. And then I go to work. Then I go to work and I work really, really hard to get better. And after about, what I'd say, maybe about 4 or 5 months, they're like, you're not getting better. And we need somebody who's going to do better. And now we've got somebody. So see ya. And they put me in this little job that y'all, I was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. I had no duties assigned for 4 months. Like, as in, I had nothing to do. Like, I didn't even have a say hi to people when they come in the office. That's what I ended up doing, because for the most part, I couldn't find a desk. So I ended up sitting in the front desk, which is like a receptionist desk, but we didn't have one. And so that's just basically what I did. I would say hi to folks. I would chat with people when they did push-ups and stuff. I would just go do I was getting paid to do nothing, y'all. But what I didn't realize is nobody thought I was going to be around much longer, because I wasn't getting better. And I did get better. You can see the evidence of that now. But the thing is in those moments when we are at a disadvantage, we might feel like our life is over. And I want to tell you today, you have so much more to give than you realize. And let me tell you this, okay? You have so much more to give than the people around you realize. Oh, let me tell you that again. You have so much more. You know, I love how Les Brown always encourages us. There is greatness within you. I really believe, especially for the child of God, but for everybody, there is greatness in you. There is so much in you. I don't care what you are facing today. You absolutely can win at life. You absolutely can make an impact. You absolutely can live a life of significance. Your life is not over, and the best is yet to come. I know some of you watching today, you have lost a lot. Some of you have lost the perfect partners. You've lost children. You've lost opportunities. You've lost limbs. You've lost faculties. You've lost things that you feel like you can never get back. And I'm not going to lie to you today and tell you you can get all that stuff back. But what I am going to tell you today is that you can create an amazing life, a significant life, a life that makes a difference. You absolutely can win this game called life, no matter what you are facing right now. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you haven't already heard a version of this talk, I recently gave this talk in the Fiercely Unstoppable Entrepreneur and Christian Entrepreneur Ministry Summit. I want you to go right now and get your free handout. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can go download your free handout and a couple little bonus trainings. I put the link down there at the bottom. It's jjclink.com/fierce. And the title of this talk today is called How to Win the Game No Matter What. Now, some of you have heard this in the context of being a Black physicist. And you're going to hear a little bit of that story in a few minutes. But I have a whole training on that. I have a whole training for technical people on how to win the game when the struggle of the game is the racial dynamic. Okay. That's a whole nother struggle. Okay. So there's a whole class on that and a whole talk on that. This class is going to be general, whether it's socioeconomic, whether it's medical, whether it's the support system around you. I'm going to show you how to change your life and make it into a life that you love. Woo, I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. Oh my goodness. Okay. So for those of you who are new and don't know who I am, especially those of you on Clubhouse, this is only my second time broadcasting on Clubhouse, y'all. I am J.J. Conway, the queen of cash flow. And today, like I said, I'm going to share with you how to win the game no matter what. I've asked you to download the handout. If you don't have the ability to download the handout and you don't have the ability to walk through it with us, that's okay. You can just get you a piece of paper and draw your cross on there. All right. Draw your 4 quadrants. All right. I encourage you to actually start the process. I know we've only got about half an hour together. Okay. So I understand that you're not going to be able to do all the deep work that I would normally do. This is normally a 3-hour workshop, right? So I understand that you're not going to have the time to do all of it. But here's the cool thing about neurology. All right. With neurology, if you just do a little bit right now, you just do all you can do right now, it starts the neurology moving on your behalf. It starts the energy moving on your behalf, and it still brings progress in your life, even if it's not the full 3 hours. So do what you can do. All right. Now, I remember when I was $845,000 in debt, my military job, single mom from this divorce, single mom trying to do Avon and Mary Kay and Discovery Toys. And then I started teaching my own classes because I realized I made money faster with that than the network marketing. No, not knocking network marketing. It's great for the people it's great for, but I made more money teaching. But I was juggling all this stuff and I was trying to be a good mom to my kid. And I was still a minister, even though I really didn't feel like it because my ex was still in the church. Right. And, but I had a calling and I knew you can't let go of the plow. Right. Like it doesn't matter how you feel. You got to keep on going. And then you got this kid. This kid is like looking at you like, Mom, I need something to eat. Mom, I need to go to school, right? Like they're not old enough to think all that, but that's what they're looking at you like. So you have to keep going, right? But inside my heart, I needed some help. I needed some help. When I was in that situation and I was doing everything that I could do, and it just felt like it wasn't enough. And then one day I was in prayer crying before the Lord, and the Spirit revealed to me that the 10 minutes I can do. And if all I can do is 10 minutes, do it. And He will add the increase. And it was such a burden lifted off of me. I even wrote a whole book on it, y'all. That's the emphasis of that overcome inertia, the 10 minutes, 10 Bible study, 10 prayer, and 10 moving my body. That was like all I could do some days. And so I want to encourage you that what little you can do today, do it today. Get the handout or draw it on your paper and start thinking about these quadrants that we're going to talk about, the G.A.M.E. And that way you will start in process the neurological, the scientific rules, laws, whatever you want to think of them as, that will allow you to create the life that you need to win the game. Woo! All right, all right, all right. Let me go ahead and get into it, because it's. I feel like I'm doing more encouraging than teaching right now, because it's really, really, really hard to go after a dream when everybody else has been programmed that it's not possible. And then they try to tell you it's not possible. And it's like if you listen to them, you don't just stop believing in your dream. Okay. See, here's the thing. We think, oh, I can let that fade and I can go back and grab it later, right? But if we don't maximize our dreams, if we don't nurture them and keep them alive, after a while, you don't just stop believing in it. The whole dream fades away and it doesn't even come back into your mind anymore. It's not even in your awareness. So when you have a dream and people tell you crazy, people tell you who you think you are, they ask you to get off your high horse. Those are all things I've heard. I want to encourage you to still pursue that dream. You got to keep it alive. Even if you don't see how it's going to come, you must hold on to that dream, because you absolutely can do it. The Lord wouldn't have allowed you to even think about, dream about that dream if it wasn't in the realm of your possibility. But you have to hold on to it. Napoleon Hill says that wealthy people make decisions. This is what he says. He says they make decisions according to that ideal that they hold, that image that they hold, that thing that they greatly desire. He said poor people make decisions according to the current circumstances and conditions of their lives. So today, I'm going to lay out for you a strategy that will help you succeed no matter what the current circumstances or foundation or situation of your life is. You got no support system? We got you. Medical issues are keeping you from being at your best? I already told you, you can still win. You got no money to start your business? You're going to get what you need today. You don't need money. You need a more clear dream. All right? Oh, you got an issue with procrastination. How about that? You got an issue with procrastination. So this is a couple flavors now. You either can't get ahead because you're trying to be perfect, right? How many of us have done that, right? Or here's the other one with procrastination. You're doing a whole lot of busy work, but you're not getting anything done. We're going to dry that up today. Oh my goodness, y'all. So I want to be real clear about who I'm talking to today. This is great content for everyone. Great content for everyone. But my intention for this talk is to help people succeed who, no matter how hard you try, it seems like life just keeps knocking you down. You're doing everything that you know how to do, but it just doesn't seem to work. And so I'm going to ask you to do something for me. All right. I know that you and I cannot see each other. Well, actually, some of you who are watching me live can see me. Everybody on Clubhouse can't see me. I know we can't see each other, but I want you to repeat after me. I can win the game. You can repeat after me or type it in the chat. I can win the game. I can win the game. You got to believe it for you, y'all. Now, I'm going to briefly tell you all about why I'm so passionate about this. I know some of you have heard different parts of my story, okay? But I think it's important for you to understand I am not just somebody who is trying to fluff you up and help you, buy stuff from me, okay? I'm not even selling anything today. But the thing is, I want you to know that you can do this. And I want you to know that you're listening to somebody who's already done it. Okay. So here's the thing. We can't just roll along and think, oh, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to tell you, I've had so much to overcome in my life. And those of you who've heard the story, it's a good story. So you can hear it in just a few minutes again. Okay. When I started out in school, though, the teachers told my mom was slow. And I actually had this conversation, this text convo with my sister yesterday. I'm like, man, I'm looking back at my pictures and I can see why people thought I was so slow. But they said I was slow. They said I was never going to amount to anything. And like today, I'd probably be slapped with a diagnosis. And today I'd probably been put in special ed or something like that. But I didn't understand what was going on. I could repeat back to you what was going on, like a lot of autistic kids can do. I could repeat back to you what was going on, but I didn't understand what was going on. And so my mom, who generally was a go with the flow kind of person, very sociable, go with the flow kind of person. She insisted on a particular second grade teacher, Mrs. Gilmore, who also identified that, but made it her mission to help me get better. And by the end, and so I have these academic records. They're in my file cabinet over there. I have these academic records where you can see quarter one, wow, she doesn't know what she's doing. And I'm going to have to work on her. She's bright, she's intelligent, but she just doesn't seem to understand. And you just see how it goes through each of the grading periods. And at the end, she says, I'm on par with my classmates, which was second grade. And so the interesting thing for me about my life were two things that came from that. One, I learned from my mom that it doesn't matter what they say. You can find a way to win the game. Okay. The other thing I learned is that the world will always make a snap decision, and they will try to put limitations on you. Okay. So now if you know what I'm talking about, drop me some hearts or comment, I know, or something like that, because the world always puts these limitations on us. And then once they put us in a box, they kind of don't expect anything else from us other than what's in the box. And it's a real human nature thing to do. We have so much information going on around us that we tend to do those quick snap decisions. It frees up our brain power. This is a biological thing, right? It frees up our brain power to do other things. And so that's why you see that a lot, right? But the problem with that is, if you put somebody in a box, but they have so much more to offer, you might never actually go back into the box to get those people out. And so I learned that I could succeed. I learned that when somebody cared enough about me, I could succeed. And I want you to understand something, because a lot of people today have put us in our boxes, and nobody ever cared to go back and get you. And I care, and God cares. People talk about their secular business versus their ministry business. I'm going to tell you right now, I got a secular business, but my secular business is an avenue of God's love in your life. The Lord loved you so much that he made sure you woke up early enough to hear this video or watch this video or hear me on Clubhouse. All right. And so the world's always going to put limitations on us, but it doesn't have to define our future. And people aren't even trying to be mean, y'all. That's the worst part about it. Like, you can't even be mad sometimes because people are actually trying to be mean. They're well-meaning. They're just trying to protect you from disappointment or failure or other harm. People early in my life thought I wasn't going to be nothing, so they put me in the she's not going to be nothing box. I was the creative, head in the clouds, not really aware kind of person, got straight A's, but for the most part, I was just one of those book smart, creative people that was just going to, grow up to be, I don't know. I think, what do they write in my reports? I was going to grow up to be a janitor or a cashier or something like that, right? And out of their desire to keep me safe, and out of the desire of the people who loved you to keep you safe, they told me to play small. And I'll bet they've told you to play small. Now, yeah, there's some people out there, they're too disappointed in their own failure to really push you. All right. They want you to fail because they failed. Right. But most people who have sowed into your life these limiting beliefs, they actually were well-meaning. They just wanted to protect you. But it's time for you now to protect your dream. It's time for you now to live the life you were created to live. So I was never the smartest kid in the room, y'all, but I was always the hardest working, which paid off. I got a full ride scholarship to the Air Force Academy, y'all, right? But I couldn't make up my mind about my major. And then when I finally went to go talk to the physics department, they were like, you can't do physics. And I was like, why not? I got all A's and B's in my classes. All you needed was a B average, right? Like, I was not old enough back then to know how people do when they don't want you around. You ever been in that situation? Like, you come up with reason after reason why you absolutely can do this, and you bust through every glass ceiling, and you show everybody how wrong you're. Like, say you can't fix this, and you fix it, and this is hopeless, and you turn it around. Like, you just boom, 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 right? Well, I didn't understand back then that it didn't matter how many reasons I was going to come up with. They were going to keep finding a reason why I couldn't do it, right? So finally the guy's like, well, you can't do it because blacks can't do physics. And I don't know. There are times where I'm not thrilled with the fact that I'm half white, but I'm glad I was half white enough to just get a little offended and not full black Italian offended. We'll just leave that story there. He's like, yeah, you can't do it. You won't make it. Blacks can't do physics. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. And nobody should tell you what you can and can't do. All right. Your future is up to you. It's up to you, and it's up to God. And nobody else has the right to tell you you can't do something. Now, let's be realistic. I am not going to turn myself into a 6'4" size 0 blonde model. Okay. That's not going to happen. But that doesn't have to happen for me to have a life of significance and impact. Okay. So I declared physics. Wasn't the smartest kid in the room, but I was the hardest working. I was not really welcomed. Some of you have heard the story. I'll spare all the stories, but one class I'll tell you about, I really thought about quitting. I even began to doubt whether or not the guy was right. Maybe he was right that I can't do it. And I didn't grow up in a racial environment. Like my family, my mother was white, and when she remarried, she married a white man, and overseas, most of the military are white, and it's a whole white culture that I grew up in. And you didn't have a whole lot of racism because, well, we were all Americans in another country, right? So like when you're Americans in another country, you like cling to each other, right? So I got discriminated against because my parents were out of wedlock. Like I didn't get discriminated against because I was the black kid growing up. So when I moved from Europe to the States, my understanding was, well, you just don't tell people your parents weren't married. Like you just don't tell, like now nobody cares about that stuff, right? But back then they did. Okay. So anyway, so I go out there and I'm just getting more and more confused, and I begin to think, well, maybe this guy's right. Maybe I can't do it. And finally, after about 2 months, everybody else was gone that day. So he leans over to me. He's like, look, my job was to get rid of you. And if you will stop coming in here, I will stop giving you the wrong answers. Ooh, well, I stopped going in his office, and in 1997, as president of the Physics and Astronomy Club, I graduated from the Air Force Academy with a bachelor's degree in physics, specializing in space. Not only was I the number 5 physics graduate of the class, which earned me the last slot for a full ride master's degree, but this lady who was told blacks can't do physics went on to do physics for 23 years in the Air Force, being the first African American to serve in that role. So a lot of you today, you were the first person in your family to accomplish something. You were the first one to graduate from high school. You were the first one to buy a house, the first doctor, the first nurse, the first business owner, maybe the first teacher. And I'll bet you had a lot of people tell you you can't do it. I'll bet they tried to tell you don't waste your time. I bet they tried to tell you don't let anybody, I bet they tried to tell you don't dream too high. Just go along to get along. Stay in your place. What are the kinds of things that people told you, right? Like, well, actually, no, never mind. Don't write that in there. I don't want you to put that in the chat. I was about to say put it in the chat, but I don't want to give those negative thoughts any more energy than they've already had in their life. I just want to encourage you today. Don't let anybody tell you don't do it. Okay. You start where you are, and you let God help you along the way. It doesn't matter what they say. You can win this game. All right. So now I'm in the Air Force, free bachelor's in physics, free master's in engineering, second dumbest kid in the class. Like, I'll be honest about that. I'm very smart in some ways, but I'm not smart in other ways. I'm incredibly creative, and I can put together things very quickly, and I can understand complex theories that other people can't understand. So I'm cool with that. Right. But there's a lot of things that I'm just not that great at. Right. Like double E. Double E was my hardest class. But I was really likable. So my bosses really loved me. And I built my military career on being able to translate all that crazy scientific gobbledygook into terms that regular people could understand. So one of my peers was like, well, I'm a way better physicist than you. And I was like, yeah, you're a better physicist than me, but people like me. That's why I'm the boss, and I get us the funding, and you do the work. Okay. Anyway, halfway through that, I came home from a 6-month military trip, divorce papers in my face. And when the dust settled, I was now a single military mom with over $845,000 of debt. And a lot of people told me to walk away. And some of you have heard this, but I'm like when people tell you to walk away from your problems like that, like, what do they think you're going to do? You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, just let that all go. Like that's not going to fix the problem. Even bankruptcy, I don't like to, I used to say it in my talks, and I don't all the time now, but this is the Building Wealth Together monthly meeting. So since we're talking about building wealth, I want you to understand something. Bankruptcy, lead and do of, deed in lieu of, all those things that they're financial things to help us get out of the mess we're in without having to do the work. Those are things that are just band-aids. They actually don't help the problem. And unless done very carefully, they most of the time, y'all, they set you right back up to be back in that position 5 to 7 years from now. Okay. So we don't want to go those routes. We want to do the work to get our life together right now and start living the life we're called to today. All right. All right. I'm gonna get off that little rant. That was a bonus. That was a bonus. You thinking about filing bankruptcy? You come to me. Let me put you on a pro rata plan and give me about a month and a half, 2 months. You know, if you're going to thinking about filing bankruptcy, you can file that in 2 months. 2 months is not going to make a huge difference with the mess you're in. Come on, let's get on this plan, and I'll bet you won't have to do it. All right. All right. Anyway, it takes a whole lot of work to turn things around when you're in that kind of a situation. And Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve today's problems with the same level of thinking that created them. Okay. So when you have to make a massive change, when you have what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle, when you are laying in the hospital and you cannot get your thoughts together and you can't get the words out of your mouth, it takes a new creative way of thinking in order to find a way forward. Okay. You can't solve today's problems with the same level of thinking that created them. You got to find a new way of thinking, a creative way of thinking in order to move forward. And so I learned how to hustle in a hurry. I learned how money worked. I started teaching classes on dumping debt and how to invest in real estate without going into more debt. And like I told you, I had every MLM that you could have. and especially if they would let me do a free party to earn my earnings, like instead of giving me free product, I wanted the earnings, right? Like I if you gave me the earnings so I could start for free, oh man, I had a bunch of them. But I was fighting. I was fighting for my legacy and for my son. And I now empower others to win with money using the same money management, real estate investment, and business strategies that got me out of all that debt. So having done so many different kinds of businesses, that's why I can tell you there is a way to win. See, what works for your friend may not work for you. And what works for me may be a little tweakable to work for you, but it's about what works for you and not what works for everybody, because what works for everybody may not work for you because you got your own situation. Not to say that nobody's been through what you've been through, because there's nothing new under the sun. But when you are deep in debt, $845,000 of debt, the last thing you need is somebody saying, oh, it's okay, baby, just have a little bit of faith. Now you got to have faith that moves mountains. You got to have faith that's substance, and substance is physicality. That means when you believe that something is going to happen, you take the action and make it happen. All right. All right. So I can sit down with you and help you figure out what kind of business or opportunity is right for you and your personality, because I want you to be successful. I don't want you to have 17 different businesses like I did, trying to make things work, figuring out what works. And then I found one that works and I'm like, wow, this really works. And it works easy and it's fun. And that's what we want, right? We're supposed to flow in abundance. All right. All right, let me get through. Like, I'm so excited telling you guys this story. I feel like it's blessing people. I normally don't spend this much time on my origin story, right? But I feel like people are getting blessed. So we're just going to tease it out just a little bit more, because there's one more thing I want to tell you about, because I want you to understand that I've been there. No matter what you're facing today, I've probably been there. Okay. So 11 years later from that divorce and all that debt, I am now retired from the Air Force. I'm now a full-time mom by night and a full-time entrepreneur by day. I speak, train, and coach. Okay. I speak, train, and coach. It's what I do. And I'm flowing in the ministry and I'm doing the things that the Lord has called me to do. And that's what I want for you. Okay. Injuries, socioeconomic, divorce, $800,000 of debt, rejected by most of my original family and friends. Nobody wanted me to succeed in college. No one wanted me to succeed in my military career. And I'm saying no one, but there's always people that did. And we're going to talk about that today. I'm telling you right now, it does not matter what they say. It does not matter where you're starting from. You can win this game called life. You absolutely can win this game. You can accomplish your goals. You can live in abundance. You can walk in a life of significance, a life that's changing others and being a blessing to yourself. I really want you to get this, because believing it's for you is the first step. See, we believe everybody else can win. That's easy to do. It's easy to believe for somebody else, but we're too sick. We're too heavy. We're too broke. We don't come from a good enough family. We had all this and we had all that, but none of that matters. You can win this game called life. You absolutely can win, y'all. So picked myself up, built me a good life for my son, got married to a good man, had another son. I got 2 miracle babies, y'all. Woo, praise the Lord. He's so good. But a couple years ago came the biggest challenge of my life. And some of you already know about it, but I know some of you are like, what could be worse than all of that, JJ? That's a lot. Well, let me tell you what could be worse. Giving up. Too many of us have given up on our dreams. We've given up on our calling. We've given up on our gifting. We've given up on the greatness that the Lord has put in us. And we let our vast potential fall by the wayside because too many people tell us we can't, or our circumstances are so dire that the enemy fights us in our own thought lives. And we tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're not worthy, or that we don't deserve success. We feel like it's impossible, and then it becomes impossible. And it seems like no matter how much you accomplished in the past, no matter how many degrees and letters and all those things are on your wall, it seems like the next challenge is just too much. And we forget about all the times that the Lord opened the doors or strengthened us, and we begin to yield to anxiety and depression. And honestly, that's what I did after that car accident, y'all. That second car accident within 8 months left me with post-concussive syndrome and memory issues. And I was a scientist. Y'all, I went from being a scientist who wrote reports from the president and chaired some of our nation's highest technical committees. And now I couldn't even make monopoly change with my son. I thought my life was over. At work, I became the butt of many jokes. I was the office scapegoat. I'm sure some of you have been there. Like everybody's just waiting for you to fall. And then they swoop in like vultures. They're just so happy it's not them, right? I was sinking. Yes, I love the Lord. Yes, I was still Pastor Conway. And those were times, oh my goodness, those were times where I was like thankful nobody showed up to noon prayer because I was snotting before the Lord about how much I hated my life and couldn't he just take me? Like I had done these great things in my past, but I thought I was going to be a vegetable for the rest of my life. I had like 15, 16 different medications I was on, and everything was a fog and nothing was working out. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get my brain back. I was sitting in the corner watching everybody else live while I just wasted away. I'm sure some of you have been in that position today. And I had to be reminded, and it's why I'm reminding you. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. If you'd have seen me 4 years ago, you wouldn't think that I would be where I am today. You absolutely can win this game called life. You absolutely can win this game called life. I found the right doctors, right supplements, right diet, and today I run an international financial education company. Not perfectly, but perfectly imperfect. And you don't have to be perfect. You are enough. And I don't know what you're facing right now. I just know life is a series of challenges, one after another. And we have to be intentional about remembering our past successes and reminding ourselves of our dreams. See, a lot of times we're missing out on the life that God has called us to. We're missing out on the abundance that we should be walking in because of our own insecurities. And then you add in society, y'all, whether it's racial, gender, even generational bias. Like generational bias is a thing now, right? Like bias because they think you're too old to have any more value, or bias because they think you're too young to know anything, right? Like at some point, your dream is going to lead you against an obstacle that you had no part in creating. Now, look, most of my obstacles, I'll admit they were my fault, right? But at some point, your dream is going to lead you against something that's not your fault. And it's so easy to say there and look at your learning disabilities that you were born with, or medical issues or injuries, and feel like you have nothing to offer and it's not your fault. And I'm telling you right now, I'm with you, because it's not like you're not trying, right? Like you're up this early to be on my talk, right? And I'm going long, and because I haven't even got to the meat yet, right? And some of you are still on all 4 platforms that we're broadcasting on. You are trying, you're doing everything you know how to do, and still the doors are closing in your face. Still, the opportunities aren't opening up. Still, other people who are less qualified and less effective seem like they're winning all the contracts. They're getting all the promotions. Man, they're launching businesses. They're becoming coaches and speakers and authors. And it feels like the opportunities are just passing you by. And it's not even your fault because you're doing everything you can do. And you might be feeling like it's not your fault and it's not fair. And you know what? I agree with you. It's not fair. And it's probably not your fault. It's not. Sometimes even when you're doing everything you know you could do, it just doesn't work. They want who they want. Real talk now, okay? You didn't come here to feel good. You came here to get good, right? So these are the true things that are going to make you move forward in your life, right? True helpful things sometimes come in packages that aren't nice, like medicine. So it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault when I went up for a very prestigious position and I was perfect for it. I'd already done the work at another job. It would have gotten me promoted and it would have allowed me to stay home with my family instead of traveling all the time. My boss wouldn't recommend me for the job simply because I was Black. And I'm not mad at him for telling me this, okay? I don't want you to get mad at him. Please don't get mad at him. I actually have the highest respect for him for telling me because he needed me to know that he really appreciated my work, but he wasn't going to burn one of his favors to do this for me. And he had to explain it to me because he knew that I was determined enough that I was going to continue fighting for this position. And he said, look, the general just fired one overweight Black female. He's not going to replace her with another one. It's not even worth my submitting you. So he submitted me for another job, which was also prestigious. Unfortunately, had a lot of travel and really horrible family dynamic. But had I not had the car accident, I probably would have gotten promoted. So some things are just not fair and some things are not your fault. Okay. It's not fair that some teenager driving with his friends rear ends me and not only costs me my military career, but then he didn't have medical bills like I did. So he ends up with like a $9,000 insurance check. And I'm like, I have to pay bills. I don't understand the calculation on that one, right? Like the doctors are like, yeah, you're just faking. And he gets money. I'm like, he hit me, right? So I don't get that. Sometimes it's not your fault. And you're not responsible for the things that are not your fault. But you are responsible to your dream and to your life. We have allowed too many good excuses, too many life circumstances, too many well-meaning but dream-killing people to back us into a corner and keep us playing small. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody else or if it's your own voice in your own head. Whatever it is, the end effect is it's been keeping you living too small. All right? You're never going to win playing small. So now I'm going to tell you how to win. I'm going to tell you how to win this game. All right. If you haven't yet downloaded your free handout, you can. All right. And again, we're not going to be able to, this is normally a 3-hour process. I actually walk everybody through this in a 3-hour workshop, but you're only going to get about 10 minutes of it. But just that 10 minutes will still put the neurons in fire to help you do more in your life. So I encourage you to do 2 things. I encourage you to get the handout while I'm talking and walk through this with me. And then I encourage you to actually get the replay of this. It'll be up temporarily online and then it'll go away. It'll go dark and then you can get access through the building altogether. You can upgrade to the VIP and go through it and then pause and finish and pause and finish the way you would if we were in the 3-hour workshop. Okay. All right. So let me, I've got the handout up there. Let me just go through and make sure I've got everything I need to start this. Okay, I need a pen. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do a pen. I've talked so much. I'm not going to walk through it with you today. I'm just going to give you a verbal example. I hope that's okay today, all right? Because I want to be respectful of your time, all right? All right, so win the game. Like every other speaker out there, right? Win the game is an acronym. It stands for Goals, Advocate, Mentor, and Excellence. Now, look, truth in advertising, the way we're going to talk about this today, I think we start with the foundation of excellence. We establish our goals, we seek mentoring, and we develop relationships with advocates. But EGMA doesn't sound as cool as game. So today we're saying win the game, but we're actually going to talk about it out of order. Okay. And if you're creative and you can help me, please do help me figure that out so it can be even better and in order. Because, you know, as a public speaker, we like that. If you're not already connected with me on social media, JJ knows the way. Okay. @ JJ knows the way on Twitter, Insta, all that stuff. Go ahead and connect with me and give me your ideas. All right. All right. So first I'm going to talk about excellence. I'm going to talk about excellence. All right. So when I taught at Air University, it was my transition between being a junior officer to being a field grade officer. And, I was really struggling. An original Tuskegee Airman, Lieutenant Colonel Herb Carter, he was a regular speaker at the college, and he saw that I was struggling. And so he, one of the times that I was escorting, he was asking how I was doing and everything. And he pulls me aside and teaches me that excellence was the antidote to racism. I actually would say that that excellence is the antidote to a whole lot of other things. But in his case, hey, Jaleesa, in his case, he was explaining to me that the issues that I were having were racial issues, and that excellence was the antidote to racism. Excellence will help you overcome any form of stereotype, ageism, genderism, classism. I mean, like, for such a tolerant society that we're supposed to be right now, we're actually not very tolerant, y'all. People make their snap judgments, and then you can't even talk them out of their opinion, right? Like, you can't meme them enough. You can't yell at them enough. You can't shame them enough to change their mind. You have to show them that they're wrong. And excellence isn't just what we do, it's who we are. So to win the game, we got to be excellent. We have to walk in the energy of excellence. And that energy resonates with the energy of other people who are excellent, and you win them over despite their preconceived notions. Your excellent energy begins to change people's minds, and it opens up doors for you that otherwise wouldn't have opened. So who we are is the foundation. That's why it doesn't matter, y'all. It doesn't matter what environment you grew up in, what money you have or don't have. It doesn't matter what your medical condition is or what opportunities you had or didn't have growing up. Excellence attracts excellence, y'all. And when excellent people see excellence in us, they are compelled. They can't help it. They want to help us succeed. Oh, I hope you get this today. When we walk in excellence, we can achieve anything that we set our minds to. And so this is an opportunity for us to reflect. And on the handout, I have some space for you to write can you see it? Oh, I'm showing you the wrong one. There we go. Excellence in broadcasting, everybody. Next time I should probably make this a slide. Oh, that would be a good idea. I'll make this a slide next time. All right. Excellence. Okay. Oh, that's gold. I was showing you the right one. Okay. So excellence in broadcasting. Well, you know what? I was on a summit yesterday. I was on a summit. One of my friends had a summit, and it was live, but one of my other peers was doing the mixing. He did such a good job with the mixing that it felt like it was pre-recorded. Like, that's how good of a job he did, is it felt like it was pre-recorded. And I said, oh, when I'm doing my summit, I don't want it to feel pre-recorded. So maybe I don't have to be perfect. People talk about perfection, and people try so hard to be perfect, but I actually started making more money and having more impact helping people get out of debt once I got into $845,000 of debt. Okay, anyway. All right, so if I want you to go in and look at these sections. Okay, so I have here things that you should start doing, stop doing, and keep doing. And one of the reasons I did it this way is because there's a lot of ways that we can look about how to be more excellent, okay? How can I be more excellent? How can I offer more excellent products? How can I deliver with more excellent behavior? Okay. So every time I do something, there's always something to improve, right? But the thing is, one of the reasons I did it this way is because I want to prevent you from going into a tailspin. See, it's really easy to dog on ourselves and say, oh, well, I should stop this and I should start that and I should this and I should that. And we got to learn to stop shouldn't all over ourselves. All right. Because many of us are doing the best that we can do, but we're walking in the negative energy of not being enough. So even the amazing things that we're doing don't ever feel like they're enough. And we don't ever walk in the energy of enough. So then when we meet somebody else with excellence, what they meet, the energy coming from us is, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. Well, guess what? Somebody who's walking in excellence and can open the doors for you to 6 and 7 and 8 figures, they're not taking you along for the ride when all you're emanating is, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And so we have to learn to start appreciating the things that we're doing that actually work right. So for example, I might say, a problem I got to work on. I'm late to fulfilling products, late to starting my wait, that happened today. Oh, So one area I might list is I need to be on time, y'all. And so if I don't look at what's going well, so for example, this morning I snuggled my little one. He's not feeling very well, and I kind of lost track of time. If I don't look at what's going well, what I should keep doing, right? I might spend more time on my business and fail to preserve my family time. And then what I would end up doing is fixing one problem, but creating a whole nother problem, right? And so you have to really take a look at what you're doing well. Not only does it change your energy, the energy you put out, the excellent energy that you put out, but it also helps you to really keep in frame with the successes that you've already had. And one thing I will say about JJ Conway, she's a good mom. Not a perfect mom, but she's a good mom. All right. Okay, so maybe I would put under start. Okay, I'm looking at I want to be more on time. So maybe I need to be more organized. I'll put that on top. Start being more organized. So when we walk in excellence, I'm telling you, you can achieve anything that you want to do. And so that takes me to my next requirement to win the game, which is goals. Do you have goals? What have you set your mind to? What are your goals? And are they quantifiable, written down, actual, clear goals? See, whether you're in speaking business or in STEM or in the corporate world, in business for yourself, whether you're just trying to be a better wife and mom or better husband and father, whether you are watching this video because you just want to be the best you can be, or listening on Clubhouse. Thank you all for listening on Clubhouse. Like they can see me, like I'm looking down, like they can see me, right? You want to begin with the end in mind, right? We always hear about hard work. Well, some of you's watching, I know you personally. You are some of the hardest working people I know. You absolutely have to have hard work, but that hard work needs to be in the right direction. And what happens is so many of us have been working so hard and getting nowhere because we haven't been truly clear about our goals. I know I wasn't, man, I was doing everything for everyone and I wasn't even on my own priority list, y'all. That has got to change. That has got to change. We have to know where we want to be. And I don't mean just wish about it, think about it like, oh, it would be nice to have a private jet and a private yacht and be able to travel the world. Like that's nice. Those things might be nice. These things might be valuable, right? But I mean, like really seriously thought about it, like visualize your goals to the point that you can tell me how the suit you're wearing feels against your skin, how the sun warms your face while you're on that Caribbean cruise. You know, I like all these little dangly earrings. And so when I'm teaching, my hair's a little squirrely today, but when I'm teaching, I'm making it worse. When I'm teaching, they jingle. They jingle. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but they jingle. And the jingle of my earrings, because these are my teaching earrings, they put a smile on my face. And so when I'm imagining myself teaching, it's not loud enough for when I'm doing the podcast for that to pick up, but I hear it. And so when I imagine those details, like I'm wearing my favorite earrings. And actually, if y'all are on, if any of y'all got a, is it Pandora? Whatever it is, the $5, I need new ones like this. All right. They're wearing out. Anyway, but you could feel it and like down to the detail, the shirts that I'm wearing, you know, like I've been doing a lot of these V-neck t-shirts. Do I really want to be on stage in that? Or do I want this? Or do I want that? Do I want this fabric? Or do I want that fabric? Do I want the swish? Do I want everybody to see me when I come in the room? Like, what does it feel like? What do the lights feel like? You know, my goal is to be up on the stage and to do like Les Brown and have 100,000 people packing out the dome, right? Can you see it? Can you see what you really want? Can you play out what you really want? You know, I used to want to do like the long line of people with my interviews, right? Like I'm wanted my autograph, right? And then I realized, you know, my hand's cramping. I don't need all that. So I took that one out the dream, but you know, like you have to really think about it. You have to think about it, right? How does it feel? How does it feel to step out of your limo? How does it feel? Let me give you this one, y'all, because I'm telling you all these wealthy things, right? How does it feel to have your grown kids want to pick up the phone when you call them? What? How does it feel to have your grandchildren and your children want to come home for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and not just out of obligation, but because they truly want to? What does it feel like to be sitting around the family reunion, around the campfire, and telling all these great stories of all the family memories that you made? What does it feel like to be crossing the finishing line at your very first race? Like, these are things you can imagine in great detail. And part of the reason why we don't get a lot back out of life is because we don't imagine or dream in detail. We are what they call, what, oh man, who was it who said that most people are wandering generalities, but we want to be a meaningful specific. We don't want to just be vague, general. I want life to be better. What does better mean? Better means I got this income goal. Well, my family gets to take this many trips. My kids act this way. My child talks to me. My husband loves me. Goals. I'm at this weight with this kind of health. Goals. Real, no kidding goals. And dream it down to the nth detail. What are your goals? Now, of course, in a morning talk, you're not going to be able to dream into the detail today. That's why I want you to get it. But I want you to look at some goals, and I want you to look at goals in these different areas. Okay, so for those of you on Clubhouse, you can't see the handout unless you downloaded it yourself. But just in case you didn't have time to, I'm gonna read them out to you. It's financial, physical, relationships, spiritual, and developmental. And so developmental is important because I put goals on my list that help me to keep growing. I want to keep growing. Some of y'all have been with me for like 7 years now, and you've seen my ups and downs, but one thing you've seen is that I keep growing. And we used to have these kinds of goals and these big dreams as a child, but somewhere along the line to adulthood, we stopped dreaming. And sometimes if we succeed, we're actually afraid that other people are going to be so judgmental, or they're going to be so convicted, they're going to feel so bad about themselves. We go around apologizing anytime we win. It's time out for that, y'all. It's time to decide what you want out of life, what you really, really want. All right. So jot down some thoughts, and I encourage you to go back later and fill it in for real. But even just jotting down a few jotting down a few thoughts while I'm talking will, again, get those neurons growing and processing. It'll also reset your reticular activating system so that you'll start filtering in information that is consistent with those goals. Now, for those of you who have never heard of the reticular activating system, I'm just going to take a quick second on that, and then we'll get to my last two quadrants. Okay. The RAS is the brain's filter. Okay. And what this filter does is, because we're taking in all this information. The minute I looked at the screen, it's taking in the colors, it's taking in the shapes, it's taking in the stuff that's piled over here, it's taking in the stuff over there in the lazy chair, it's taking in all the stuff, everything. But I'm not consciously thinking about all that. It's just going into the subconscious. The RAS filters to our conscious mind out of the 100 million pieces of information we take in. It lets us think maybe 30, 40, 50,000. I'm not a neurologist. Okay. So it gives us a subset of everything we take in. Well, how does it know which things to give us? Well, we tell it which things to give us by what we choose to think about. So if all I'm thinking about is what a crummy day it is and how much I hate my life, then the RAS says, okay, out of the 100 million pieces of data that we're taking in today, we're going to send her things that corroborate the fact it's a horrible life and what a crummy day. This is why reframing and other positive thinking techniques can be very powerful. Okay. And this class today is not about just positive thinking. I'm a big fan of positive thinking, right? I am a big fan of positive thinking, but I also know that you have to do a positive doing. All right. And so, but I think thinking, you can't do for long without the thinking. So we really must change the way we think and feel about ourselves. And we must be selective. We must be intentional about how we're thinking. Okay. And so the RAS is filtering. So if I'm going to filter, one day I'm going to have this house on the hill. I'm going to have this ranch. Y'all haven't heard me talk about this. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I want a training center, a retreat center, and I want it to be big enough. I want it to be far enough away where we can have the windows open and people can just look out and see the sunset and the sunrise. I want it to have enough land that my family can go hiking and shooting and doing all the things that Texas people like to do. Now that I'm a Texan, kind of, I go Steelers, right? Like I want it to be all these things. But now that I have figured that out, everywhere I go, I see potential candidate properties and I take pictures of the ones I like, right? And then I even my favorite one, I even figured out how to get to it, y'all. I didn't trespass. All right. They did have a no trespassing and I had to stop, but it's complicated to get to because I really believe that it's for me. I believe that this type of property is for me, whether it's that one or another one. This is the property. And I really believe when I walk into it, I believe that I'm going to know the property that's for me because I will have imagined it so many times in my mind. I've had mentor after mentor tell me they imagined that so much in their mind that they knew it when they walked in. They're like, you don't need to show me the bedrooms. You don't need to show me this or that. I've been through this house a million times. And not only that, I remember another story. I know another story of another peer that was in a conference, and he pulled out this picture. Okay. He pulled out this picture of a house that was on his vision board like 10 years prior. He had forgotten all about it, but he's got successful in his career, moved around a little bit, and they finally got to their big house and they're unpacking these years of boxes. And he pulls out this vision board, and the house that was on this multi-million-dollar house that was on his vision board was the house that he had just purchased. So I want you to dream vividly. And then I want you to write down some goals. Okay. Some goals, some things that you can do. So for example, in my case, like I said, I was building professional things. Like I want to go in somewhere, financial goals. I have a certain amount I want to make every month. Right. Physical, I have a certain goal. Get those goals down. Okay. Because the more focused you are. Oh, wait. Excuse me. Let me, wait. Some of y'all are overachievers. Hold on now. Some of y'all are overachievers. So some of you are going to be like, I don't know what to put down, right? You having trouble coming up with just one goal per category. Some of y'all are going to be like, oh, I want this and this and this and this. And you got 20 different goals for every area. Okay. That is not what we're doing here today. Okay. The more focused you are, the more focused your energy is. So I'm going to encourage you to just do one goal per area right now and laser focus on that goal. Okay. The more focused you are, the more focused your energy is, and the sooner you attract that into your life. All right. And so we want to have goals. We want to walk in excellence. We want to have clear goals. Okay. So the next step, so as we walk around our thing, we're making like a square, is mentorship. Okay. And mentors are so important. Okay. Mentors are people who have done what you want to do, and they show you in order to learn in your oh my Lord. And I'm live too. They show you in order to shorten your learning curve. Okay. So a lot of people want to call themselves mentors, and they want to call themselves coaches, and they want to call themselves all these things, but you have to make sure that somebody has actually done what you want to do, or they know how to do it. Somebody brought up a point to me. I made this comment about how I'm tired of these people on the metro in their cheap polyester suits asking me if they can show me how to build a business that's going to set me financially free. And I'm looking at them like, you don't know who you're talking to. And you sure don't know who you're talking to coming at me with that cheap wrinkled suit. Like, I don't say that. I'm just like, oh, I would love to, but let me tell you a little bit about what I do first. But somebody said, sometimes people are just down on their luck. And I'm like, yeah, I remember being down on my luck. And sometimes you can be down on your luck and you know what to do because you've done it before or you've worked in that industry. So that's not what I'm talking about, right? But I'm just saying there's a lot of people out there that are very, very happy to take your money. You need to make sure that these people can really show you what they are promising they can show you. Okay. The other thing that I want to say about mentoring is we got to understand that the goal of mentoring is to shorten the learning curve, right? Like somebody's showing you how to do an online course. Okay. So I took a thing on how to do an online course, and they said you should have a hand. So I'm not doing it today because I wanted you to see my shirt, right? I wanted you to see, whoa, I put the mic right there. I wanted you to see the shirt because somebody made this shirt. One of my fellow preachers made this shirt, and I wanted them to see that I've got their shirt on, right? And so, but you're supposed to have like a hand between you and the top of the screen, and you're supposed to have all this space, and you could learn all these things, right? Like you could learn how to position yourself. You could learn how to turn, which settings on the ring light work. You could learn all those different things that make you look natural, even though you got a big setup, right? You don't have to have a big setup. Please don't let me say that the wrong way. But you could learn those things on your own through trial and error, but that might take forever, especially if you hard-headed like me, right? But a mentor can show you how to do things better, faster, and they can show you what to avoid. And the problem for a lot of us the problem for a lot of us are, the problem for a lot of us is, the problem a lot of us have is that we've either not found quality mentors, or we have something about us that people don't want to mentor. And I almost hesitate to say this because I don't want people to think that I'm all about racial dynamics or anything. But the fact of the matter is, if you are in a male dominated field and you are a woman, you're not going to have as many people want to mentor you. If you are a person of color in a white dominated field, you're not going to have as many people want to mentor you. If you are a I don't know, if you are transgendered in a small town in the South, you may have less people willing to accept you. Okay. So, there's all these different things that we have to realize, and it may make it harder for us to find mentorship. So then we're so used to pulling our own selves up by our bootstraps and just doing it for ourselves and making it happen for ourselves that we don't even realize that there's so much value to having somebody else come alongside us. But the problem is there's nobody around us. We looking around, ain't nobody there. So then it's like, okay, I just have to do it myself. And what I want to encourage you today is you don't have to do it alone. You can find the mentors. When you walk in excellence and you get very clear about your goals, the mentors will show up. They may not be in your town. They may not be in your state. They may be online. They may be people you meet at a conference. Okay. But they will show up. So, like I said before, make sure whoever you're writing in here, mentors, just write some names of people that you think might be mentors. Or if you don't know anybody, write the kinds of people you want. Like I wanted somebody in my life who was good at empowering others. I knew I had a gift for speaking and for putting together conferences and things like that. And I know I wanted to take it to the next level. And so I wanted somebody who was good at doing that. And I found somebody and I was mentored by them for a little while, but I really wanted to speak specifically to a particular group of women. And then that mentor showed up. Once I got clear about what I wanted, that mentor showed up. And so now everything she does, I don't care how much it costs. I'm doing it. I'm buying it. I'm in it because I'm learning and watching. And I'm giving her due. She's mentoring me. She's training me. She's showing me how to do what to do. But I'm getting what I need so that I can give you what you need. All right. So make sure your mentor has actually done what you want to do, because most haven't. And don't be afraid to pay for quality mentoring. Some relationships don't begin until the mentor sees that you're serious. And one way a mentor sees that you're serious is when you pony up that money, honey. So in the mentor quadrant of your handout, write down people who can help you accomplish your goals. Or if you don't know anybody personally, or if you don't know of somebody, then put down the kind of person. And you can put down somebody you don't personally know, but then you're going to make a strategy to get to know them, to get on their radar screen, to get important to them. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the advocate section. Okay. And so, like, for example, for me, with the example that I gave you of being late and being disorganized. Okay. Maybe in order to get more organized, maybe I got to put away all the piles and piles of paper and books on my desk. Whew. But in order to do that, I got to finish unpacking. Got a lot of stuff to move to my husband's cozy little house. And it gets overwhelming, right? So in thinking about a mentor, and Jaleesa, I'm going to answer your question in just a second. In thinking about a mentor, I might remember that my friend Lucy also retired from the military and went through the same thing. So I would put her down in the mentoring block. Like, oh, she's gone through this. She had to take 25 years worth of stuff and cram it into somebody else's house. Let me talk to her about how to do this, because it's an emotional process. If you've never been through it, it's a very emotional process. So here's a question that came in online. I think it's a very, very good question for us to talk about at this point. The difference between a mentor and a coach. And I am a professionally certified coach. Okay. And so for me, I have a lot of opinions on coaching. I feel like a lot of people want to be a coach and they want to say that they're a coach, but really they just want to tell you how to live your life. And then half the time they're not even living a great life either, right? Like, I'm like, come on now. You don't have to be rich to be living in a life of excellence. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have your health there to teach people how to do well in their health, right? Like, I used to be a fitness trainer. I'm still overweight, but I know how to lose weight. I know how to improve the body, right? So you don't have to be perfect to help somebody, but come on. You just want to tell me how to live my life because you don't feel good. Okay. So that's not the kind of person you want. But a true coach is somebody, and this is something that Jaleesa, who asked the question, actually does very well. A true coach is somebody who will draw out of you the solutions that are already in you. See, coaching helps us do several things. True coaching helps us develop higher levels of thinking, higher levels of problem solving, and higher levels of effectiveness. And the reason coaching works is because you are drawing out of the client what's already in the client. And in the process of doing that, of asking those coaching questions and the client answering the questions and really thinking about things in a way they may never have thought about before, that up levels their entire cognitive ability. The research has shown that effective coaching can develop an individual's leadership, communication, teamwork, all kinds of potential. And the coach doesn't even have to be an expert in that field. What they have to be is an expert in drawing out of them. Okay. So now when we go into this thinking about a coach versus a mentor, I have some mentors that use a coaching style predominantly, but a mentor is somebody who shortens your learning curve. They are somebody that shows you how to do, they kind of fast track you. They're the person when you show up to a new company. There's somebody who will they'll take you around and make sure you know everybody, and they'll help you understand the sacred cows of that organization so you don't go into the next big meeting and blurt something that's going to shut everybody down from you for the next 2 years, right? So that's what a mentor does versus what a coach does. Both are especially effective in a personal development kind of business, whether you're a speaker, trainer, coach, or any kinds of things that you may feel that you are inadequate for. So let me give another example, because that's like a speaking in a corporate example. Let me give you a relationship example. So I had a mentor who didn't know she was a mentor, but I had a mentor who showed me that my dominant, get everything done kind of personality was not ever going to attract the kind of man that I wanted. Okay. And so as I watched what she was doing and teaching and working with other people who were singles, I began to learn those lessons and realize that I needed to make a decision in my life. Did I want this kind of guy or that kind of guy? For those of you just joining, this is not a dating program. I'm just talking about how to win the game, and I'm giving you an example. But did I want this kind of guy or did I want that kind of guy? My personality naturally attracts this kind of guy. And if I don't want this kind of guy, am I willing to make the changes I need to get this kind of guy, which is the one I want? Right. And so that's a form of mentorship. But a coach could come and talk to me and ask about, okay, well, why do you feel the need to be so dominant? Because I'm right and because I'm awesome, right? Like a coach could really get you through all that. So I hope that's made some sense in talking about the difference between the mentor and the coach. Okay. So I'm really glad that you asked that question, because the last quality that we're going to talk about today, the last step of winning the game, no matter what, is advocate. And a lot of people think that their mentor is going to be an advocate. A mentor can be an advocate. In fact, a lot of the people that we bring in and pay to be our mentors, we might pay them expecting them to be advocates, right? Like you pay me to be part of my program. To be part of my program, and then you get to speak at my conference. And then when I have other big conferences or big names or big speaking engagements I can't fulfill, then I send them to you, right? Like that's part of the process. I bring you along, but that's not always the case. And a lot of times you can find advocates who will help you. They'll open up doors for you. So you can see that they'll open up doors for you, and you're not even paying them. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what this is. An advocate is somebody who is essential to taking your life and success to the next level. It's actually kind of a hidden secret in a lot of organizations, a lot of corporations, especially the military. And like, I didn't learn this until I was a major in the Air Force. So it was a little bit late for me to really develop relationship with an advocate, right? Because I needed that development. I needed to have developed that relationship earlier in. A mentor shortens your learning curve, but the advocate is the one who opens the doors for you and brings you along. So let me give you an example of both. Okay. So I'm part of Les Brown's Power Voice program. And when Mr. Brown showed me how to adapt my story, the one I told you earlier, he showed me how to adapt it so it would be better received by different audiences. It was a little bit long, but trust me, when I first developed it, it was super long because it's a lot, y'all. I've been through a lot. And so I eventually would have figured it out, right? Like I'd see the people nodding in the audiences and I might have been like, oh, maybe I need to cut that part out, right? Like I would eventually figured that out, but he shortened my learning curve. That's that's um that's uh that's mentorship, okay? And so when he later on turned around and said, "You're going to speak first at my summit," that's advocacy. He was acting as my advocate. He opened the door for me to speak to his audience. Okay. And so you do see advocacy happen sometimes through paid mentorship, private access kind of programs. And I do that for people who speak at my conferences. Like, I'm not going to knock the business model. I make good money on that, right? Most advocates actually do this because there's something about you that resonates with them. You remind them of themselves. You remind them of their kids. You remind them of their own hopes and dreams. And as you pursue your dreams and goals, I want you to be on the lookout for an advocate. And in this exercise, you may realize that you have had advocates helping you all this time, and you did not realize this. And if you discover that, like I did when I first went through this exercise, I encourage you to reach out and thank them. It's an excellent time to think about who can open the doors you need opening, and think about how to build a relationship with them. I want you to list them in the advocates quadrant of your handout. And then once you identify those advocates, you work to develop a relationship. So I might say, and I'm telling you, when you walk in excellence and you focus, when you walk in excellence and you focus on your goals, I'm telling you, these pieces, the mentors and the advocates, they come into play very quickly. And you might say, okay, I want to develop a relationship with Dr. Paul Sheely. Okay, he's very well known for up-leveling our cognitive ability, harnessing the power of our mind, overcoming limiting beliefs. And I want to do what he does for the members of my church and for my Building Wealth Together students, right? Like I want to build a relationship with him. Or another one that I wanted to build a relationship with, Dr. George Frazier. Okay. So I want to build a relationship with him. Somebody else that I want to build a relationship, Dr. Al Mosley. I saw how he helped the careers of so many of the people that I was with in the military. And unfortunately, I didn't maximize that relationship when I had the time, because I was a busy single mom trying to get out of $845,000 of debt. But since then, I've put myself in positions to bring these people into my life. And so the thing about advocates is, once you identify them, you have to work to develop a relationship. And Dr. Frazier gave me this advice. He's like, if you want to get access to somebody like me, you need to find out what's important to me. That's what he said. He said, you need to find out what's important to me, and then you need to make it important to you. And I was like, that's very good advice. And somebody else, who was it? I think it was Ben Starling, said, you need to get on their agenda before you can expect them to get on your agenda. So you find the things that are important to them, you make it important to you, you build a relationship, and maybe you do all that work and you realize that's not really the relationship you want. That's happened to me a couple times. Like, I've gotten close to somebody and realized, wow, I don't like this person. They have negative energy that is cross purposes with my Holy Spirit filled life. So we're just going to go apart ways. But it's the process. And once you develop this process, it will carry you everywhere that you want to go. Okay. All right. Well, that is win the game. All right. So excellence, goals, advocate, mentor. Thank you. I love flattery, y'all. I'm not even going to pretend. Thank you for being on with me today. I know we did go a little bit late. And I really hope that this has helped you in your life, and that it will help you take your life to the next level. Spend some time thinking about these concepts and thinking about who you might position to be your next mentor or your next advocate in your life. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime, except in the next hour, because I have another class to teach. We're going to be talking about tax sales and real estate investing. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stay tuned to my Facebook channel, my YouTube channel, or Clubhouse. But otherwise, y'all take care and have a good, wait. How do we join the fireside chat? Okay, so the fireside chat is every first Thursday. I did mess up last time because I forgot to broadcast it, and I forgot to put it on the free conference call. Like, I've been playing with Clubhouse now that they've got it on for Android. So I'm going to do a better job of that. But there is a Facebook. I'm not Facebook. Yeah. It's broadcast to my Facebook group, Building Wealth Together. Okay, there we go. Anybody else have a question before I end it? I love you guys. This has been so much fun. You guys are just great. I hope you know that. I hope you know that I truly appreciate everybody who attends my classes. Because I mean, if you didn't attend my class, I wouldn't get to have this kind of fun. You know what I'd be doing right now? I'd be playing Mario, which can be fun. But after 4 hours, I'm really ready for a break. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in. I'm trying to check. I've got 4 different platforms that we're streaming to right now. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. All right. That's all I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and forward to your friends the Building Wealth Together podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, JJ Knows the Way. You might also subscribe to Little Man's YouTube channel, Philly Bob the PK. But I really care more about you subscribing to mine. So I'm gonna be selfish like that. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook if you're new to me, because there was a lot of people that just said Facebook user, so I may not know who you are. Make sure you follow me on Facebook and stay in touch. And most importantly, put these principles to work for you, and then let me know how it goes. All right. All right. That's it. That's it. I will say good night. Y'all take care and be blessed. Or good morning, I suppose. Y'all take care.